The restaurant hummed with quiet conversation and the soft clink of wine glasses. Sarah adjusted the collar of her red dress for the third time and tried to steady her breathing. Her sister had insisted she come tonight. Just one blind date. What could it hurt? She knew what this was though. She had seen the pitying looks before. The whispered conversations that stopped when she entered the room. At 42 years old she had learned to read the signs. This was another setup. Another well-meaning attempt by people who couldn't understand why she was still single. Sarah smoothed the white tablecloth with her palm and watched the other diners. A young couple leaned close over candlelight. An elderly pair sat in comfortable silence. And then there were the two young men at the corner table. Brothers maybe, or friends. They kept glancing her way and whispering. Her stomach tightened. She recognized that look too. Tom adjusted his collar as he walked through the restaurant entrance. His brother had been insistent. You need to get back out there, Tom. It's been 3 years. The kids need to see you happy again. He had finally agreed just to stop the nagging. One dinner. 1 hour of polite conversation. Then he could go home to his 2 daughters and his quiet evenings and his familiar routines. The hostess led him through the dining room. He noticed 2 young men at a corner table watching him. Something about their expressions made him uneasy. A smirk. A nudge. The kind of look he remembered from high school when someone was the butt of a joke. Then he saw her, a woman in a red dress sitting alone at a table by the window. Her blonde hair caught the light from the chandelier overhead. She was looking down at her hands. There was something vulnerable in the set of her shoulders. The hostess gestured toward the table. Tom took a breath and walked over. Sarah looked up as the man approached. He was tall with kind eyes and dark hair going gray at the temples. He wore a simple white shirt. Nothing flashy. He looked tired in the way people do when they have been carrying something heavy for a long time. Sarah, he asked. She nodded. Tom, that's me. He smiled and it reached his eyes. May I? She gestured to the chair across from her. As he sat down she caught movement from the corner of her vision. Those 2 young men again. One of them had his phone out now. They were filming. Her chest constricted. Of course. This wasn't just a setup. It was entertainment. Tom followed her gaze. He saw the phone, saw the grins, and in that moment he understood exactly what was happening. Someone had arranged this as a joke. Look at the fat woman on a blind date. Watch the guy's reaction. He felt anger rise in his throat. Not at Sarah, at the cruelty of it, at the casual meanness of people who found humor in someone else's vulnerability. But when he looked back at Sarah he saw something that made his anger shift into something else entirely. She wasn't looking at him with embarrassment or apology. She was looking at him with recognition. As if she knew exactly what he had just figured out. As if she had been expecting it all along. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I didn't know they would. She stopped. I should probably go. No, Tom said. The word came out more firmly than he intended. He softened his voice. Please don't go. Sarah met his eyes. You don't have to do this. I know what this is. It's fine. Really. Tom leaned forward. When my wife died 3 years ago people said a lot of things to me. They said time heals all wounds. They said I needed to stay strong for the kids. They said God has a plan. He paused. But you know what almost no one said. The truth. That it was unfair and it hurt and some days getting out of bed felt impossible. Sarah's expression shifted. The guarded look softened. I'm tired of people who think other people's lives are entertainment, Tom continued. I'm tired of the ones who set up little tests to see how we'll react. As if our pain or our loneliness or our bodies are performances for their amusement. He picked up his menu. So here's what I think. I think we should order dinner. I think we should have a real conversation. And I think we should let those 2 idiots in the corner film whatever they want because honestly I don't care what they think. For the first time that evening Sarah smiled. Really smiled. You might be the first person in 5 years who has talked to me like a human being on a first date. Then you've been going on dates with the wrong people. The waiter appeared. Tom ordered the salmon. Sarah chose the chicken marsala. When the waiter left Tom asked about her work. She was a librarian at the county branch. She loved it. The quiet. The books. The regulars who came in every week for the new mystery releases. What about you? Sarah asked. I'm an accountant. I know. Exciting stuff. Tom grinned. But honestly, I like numbers. They make sense. They follow rules. Unlike people. Unlike most people, Sarah corrected. Unlike most people, Tom agreed. Their food arrived. They ate slowly. Tom told her about his daughters. Emma was 9 and loved soccer. Grace was 12 and going through a phase where she wanted to dye her hair purple. Sarah talked about her nieces. About the garden she was trying to grow in her backyard. About the mystery novel she was writing in her spare time, even though she would probably never show it to anyone. Why not? Tom asked. Sarah shrugged. Fear, I guess. What if it's terrible? What if it's wonderful? She considered this. That might be scarier actually. Tom understood. When you had been hurt enough times by other people's judgments, it became easier not to put yourself out there at all. Safer to stay small. To expect nothing. But that wasn't living. That was just existing. The young men in the corner had stopped filming. One of them looked uncomfortable now. They paid their bill and left without looking back. Tom wondered if they had heard any of the conversation. He hoped they had. He hoped it made them think twice before pulling something like this again. Though probably it wouldn't. People rarely changed unless they wanted to. Dessert came. They shared a slice of chocolate cake. Sarah told him about her mother who had passed away the previous year. Tom talked about the grief support group he had attended for a while. How it helped to be around people who understood. Who didn't try to fix things or rush you through the sadness. Do you still go? Sarah asked. No, I probably should though. Tom took a sip of coffee. Some days are harder than others. The girls have been asking about dating. If I'm going to. If they'll have a new mom someday. He shook his head. I don't know how to explain that their mother can never be replaced. That any new relationship wouldn't be about replacement. It would be about making room for something different. That's a hard thing to explain to kids. It's a hard thing to explain to myself. Sarah reached across the table. Not quite touching his hand but close. You seem like a good father. I'm trying. That's all any of us can do, right? Try. The restaurant was quieter now. Other diners had left. The waiter brought the check. Tom picked it up before Sarah could reach for it. Please, he said. Let me. Tom, you don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Outside the air was cool. Early autumn. The kind of evening that smelled like wood smoke and falling leaves. They stood on the sidewalk, neither quite ready to say goodbye. Thank you, Sarah said. For staying. For being kind. Thank you for giving me a chance to be. She smiled. Would you want to do this again sometime? Maybe without the audience. Tom felt something loosen in his chest. Something that had been tight for 3 years. I would like that very much. They exchanged numbers. Made plans for coffee the following Saturday. When they hugged goodbye, it felt natural. Comfortable. Like greeting an old friend rather than ending a first date. Tom drove home through the quiet streets. When he walked into his house, Emma was waiting up. She was supposed to be in bed, but she sat on the stairs in her pajamas with her stuffed rabbit. How was your date, Daddy? Tom sat down beside her. It was good, sweetie. Really good. Are you going to see her again? I think so. If that's okay with you. Emma thought about this seriously. Is she nice? She is. Very nice. Then it's okay. Emma leaned against his shoulder. I want you to be happy. Tom kissed the top of her head. I am happy. I have you and Grace. That's more than enough. But maybe you could be a little more happy. With someone else too. Out of the mouths of children. Maybe. We'll see. He carried Emma upstairs and tucked her back into bed. In her room, Grace was still awake, reading by flashlight under the covers. She looked up when he peeked in. Good date? She asked. Good date. Grace grinned. Good. Tom went to his own room. He looked at the photo on his nightstand. His wife smiling in the sunshine. 3 years gone now. The grief was still there. It would always be there. But maybe there was room for something else too. Not replacement. Just room. He thought about Sarah. About her quiet strength. About the way she had known exactly what was happening in that restaurant but had stayed anyway. About her smile when he had asked to see her again. Maybe this wouldn't go anywhere. Maybe it would. Either way, he was grateful for the reminder that there were still good people in the world. Still moments of genuine connection. Still reasons to try. He turned off the light and lay down. For the first time in a long time he felt something that wasn't quite hope but wasn't despair either. Something in between. Something like possibility. And that was enough.